Anthony Pagden, welcome to the Kreisky Forum. You've recently written about the Enlightenment, and while most people think the Enlightenment is all about reason, you come to a very different conclusion.
What I've tried to suggest was the Enlightenment project, which is commonly called the Enlightenment project, that is to say the philosophical core of what we think of as the Enlightenment, is not so much about reason as about constructing what was known at the time as a human science, that's to say a science of understanding what it is to be human, on the basis of an understanding of the emotions, sentiments. Now that is not to say that reason doesn't play an important role in it, but I rejected or tried to demonstrate the falsity of the traditional view that all that the Enlightenment consisted of was an attempt to erase what might be described as tradition, convention, prejudice, etc., by the direct and unmediated application of reason.
You also make the point that this science of man that was being developed leads to another project which you call cosmopolitanism.
Yes, that is correct. What I tried to show was that historically, there's a historical core to this, that historically the Enlightenment project, because there are other aspects of the Enlightenment that can be considered which are different, the Enlightenment project is one that sought, as it were, to find a secularized replacement for theology. And that what this involved was precisely finding what theology claimed to offer, which was an account of humankind. What was the human? Now, for the theologians, the human was to be understood in terms of the deity and the intentions of the deity via, since we're talking about Christianity here, of course, via the conception of a natural law or a form of nature. So what the intention was to rewrite, in a sense, the whole conception of the natural law. Now, in the process of doing that, what this involved was an understanding of what it is that bound all human peoples together. And so the core emerges slowly as being a cosmopolitan project, in that it became impossible, or ultimately of little significance, let us say, to distinguish between different peoples. Now, this is not to say that the difference between peoples was unimportant, or that custom is unimportant, or that language is unimportant. None of these things are unimportant. It's simply that humanity has a common base, and that common base was considered to be an affective one. That's to say, a relationship we all have towards each other, which is one of affectivity, rather than simple reason, although it's guided by reason. And that then creates a world of the cosmos, the world as a city, so that you have the notion of a single cosmopolitan environment. Yes.
Which brings us straight away to the European community, because this is the cosmopolitan project of the day. Do you think the European community still has a chance, or have we blown our chance of being a proper European community?
I don't think it's blown its chances at all. After all, remember that this is the first. There was a crisis of a sort of kind of in the 70s and 80s. This is the first, but this is the first major crisis of its history, and I think that the chances of weathering this are actually very good. Now, it may turn out, of course, to be completely wrong, but I think that what links Europeans together as some mini cosmopolitan project, if you like, is something far deeper than merely common economic interests or common economic concerns, and that basically the current crisis is essentially an economic one. I think that this can be resolved. It will take time, and it will take a considerable amount of effort to do so. But I'm sure that there is a European future. It's a question of time.
Thank you.